Waking up every morning was just like, why am I doing this? We should be able to pay everything off and have a little bit left.
You're saying half of that, though, goes to her mom for the babysitting side of things.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where it starts to make a lot of sense. Like when if you just look at that as an expense of the business, for example, 50% immediately is going out the door. It's just going to be difficult to either you got to scale this and have a bunch of employees, and now she never sees the kids, and it's not what we want. So like, I would be a big fan of like, especially also Ricardo, because like once you have her support, you'll feel better on the hauling side of the business to like just go all in on it. And so I can only imagine not like having the support of a spouse like on that front. And so I would just like if that's what she wants, and she's gonna be able to support you more on the hauling side, just from like an emotional perspective, like I would just do it. Like, because like, right now the business, even at 350,000, with we knowing it can do 600, 700,000, we should be just focused on that, especially because the cleaning thing is like not super profitable due to the fact that half of the money goes out the door as soon as we start leaving the kids. And then secondly, that she doesn't want to do it. And so like, I think if I was you, very self-aware of yourself to realize that, quote, laziness is what caused that issue in the past. And so like, in order to be able to resolve that, it's going to be like, we need to have the whole family being like, oh, the hauling business is where we're focusing our attention. And then you'll get more buy-in from her once you kind of like don't require that cleaning business to keep operating, and her also feeling like she's not doing a good job as a mother.
Yeah, we have that a lot.
So I think you're in the right direction there. Then it's a matter of, okay, well, then how do we scale up the hauling business so we can still pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
So right now, do you still have your brother running that as kind of like the general manager? What's the setup currently in the hauling business?
But yeah, so I have my general manager, which is my cousin.
Cousin.
And then I'm basically back. Right now he's out medically. He's has some gout or some stuff. Yeah, gout. So he can't really walk much. So I've been taking control of the. We haven't really had much jobs. We're just kind of focusing on that big project that my brother partnered up with that other company. But and then as far as financially, right now I just checked. We're about 10 grand into debt with credit cards. Then I have some invoices that are pending, which is about 5 grand, and then whatever I'm gonna make out of this job, which should be able to pay everything off and have a little bit left. So that's where we're at financially. And then yeah, last year this company, even without me being here, it made just it was 396,000.
Yeah, like, it's a good business, honestly. Like, and the challenging part is it's less recurring, and that's why I know the inclination is like, hey, we go to cleaning, it's a little more stable. But I think when it comes down to like, even at 400,000, let's say if we really spent our time and attention, the full family was behind this. If we can get to 6 or 700,000, I don't necessarily need you in the truck. I just need you fully into getting sales.
Yeah,
Because that's the challenging part with is it junk removal or is it hauling? Like what's kind of like the breakdown?
it's junk removal. So we do light demolition, junk removal from like single item pickups to multiple or acre clear outs.
Got it. And what percentage of that is residential, like homeowners? What percentage of that is like, say, property managers? And what percentage of that is like commercial, say, like renovation jobs or construction, like contractors?
So I would say I don't know the exact percentage wise, but I would say like 80% of it is residential, and then we have about 20% commercial, and then within between all those, some customers handle their own remodels, so they'll have us come out and do the hauling for the remodel, the construction debris or something. Sometimes it's the contractor calling us. But yeah, we have a few accounts with some property managers. There's one property manager that keeps us pretty busy, but they take about like 30 days plus to pay us.
Pay. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
one that was like 5, 6 grand.
Got it. Okay. And then what's from your perspective, like what's the type of job that comes in? You're like, this is a moneymaker. We get it. They occasionally come in, but like we know we're gonna make money on it. Is that like when the contractor calls you? Is that when someone does a renovation? Like what size of job is that?
Honestly, it's gonna be like the house clear out, so people um, moving out, and then hoarder situations where it's just truckloads of stuff coming out. Because if we charge, like right now, my price is 875 for a full truckload on my 19 cubic yard truck. So if we're doing about say five or so, it's a good chunk of change, and then with the dump fees and labor, I mean we're still profiting Yeah, a good chunk. I don't know the exact number because dump fees are vary
Mhm.
depending on how many people we bring and all that. So, but it brings a nice piece of chunk of change.
Okay. All right. 'Cause, like what my sort of thought is like, how do we spend more time going after those people? And even in your website, going after those, like from a messaging perspective, after
Mhm.
house cleanouts and hoarders, right? Like on your site, I actually like I see you said junk removal, furniture removal, estate clearouts, mattress construction, debris removal. Like I get there's a lot of different aspects, but if we can take 20% of what's currently making a big chunk of revenue and you're making money on these things and just make that more of our headline, like on the trucks, etc. And that's kind of where my head went first is this segment of the population, like hoarders, for example, are move in, move out. People are less price sensitive. They have to get done. They know it's a big item. They know it's a lot of cost. It's a big difference. It's not like someone's like, hey, pick up this one mattress for me, this one, little thing. And then the reason I'm saying this is because now we can afford a higher customer acquisition cost. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's the thing I'm trying to nail down is like, how do we actually spend money on Google where we're not spending $50 per lead and then we're doing $100, $200, mattress removal, right?
Right.
Where we're just not going to be able to make money on those. So, okay. So I'd first look in like, how can we rebrand the business, whether it be the website, even the logo potentially, in terms of like, how do we target the customers that we know we make money on, that we have enough margin to actually advertise? Because if in a model where there's not recurring revenue, I need to make sure I'm making that money back that I'm
Mhm.
spending on ads. And that's many times the thing I see with junk removal businesses. They're paying between $30 and $100 customer acquisition cost on a job that might be $100 or $200 for a small little job.
Yeah, because like from the math I did in the last couple of years, so last when I was running Google Ads, it was about 175 per customer, and then the job average was about 450. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough. That's tough because then you have that cost. Then you immediately have direct labor and debris, and like man, we aren't making no money. So
Yeah.
like I know it might be even like I would rather you do $500,000, but be 70%, 80% house cleanouts and hoarders, where
Mhm.
we know we're making good money. We don't have to spend so much on marketing because if we're spending 20-25% of our revenue on marketing, like it's gonna be a tough uphill battle.
Yeah. Yeah, because labor for last year, yeah, just labor alone was about 25%, just a little over. Total advertising was just under 10%, and then disposal fees about 15%.
So like my thought is, can we rebrand around the most profitable services, which is house cleanouts and hoarders. We instead of having all those words underneath, we just target those. Like most people figure out junk removal, they can get all this other stuff thrown in. But if we
Mhm.
really make our like go to what we're known for, the hoard, and you can make some cool ads around this, by the way, like on Facebook, for example, around hoarders, and you have like tons of really good before and after photos versus like we will remove your mattress. No one's going to repeat business that. Um, and the other thing I would say is like how many people are in your database right now, Ricardo?
Uh, I thought sure I was gonna look into that, but we got super busy. Right after we had that
You're good.
mastermind, we had that big job we had that we're doing. Probably, and then just to clarify, just meanwhile I looked this up. I had a list of questions. So
Yeah.
basically, the house cleaning business just completely shut it down for now. Just um,
Given the fact that we're 50% taken out right off the top because of the child care,
mhm.
and she doesn't want you to do it. Like we're talking about $1,000 a month of actual profit. And that's without paying someone else. Like she's doing the labor to make that happen. And
Right.
I think that if you just focused on the business and had her support, you'd make more than 1,000 extra in profit a month. I know,
Mhm.
like, I know, like though, like when it's tight, it's like, man, we need $1,000 or $2,000 just to make it by. But like,
Yeah.
I genuinely believe, and you could even do this, Ricardo, like, because she's gonna want this, is just be like, hey, once we hit X amount in revenue in the business, we're gonna take away the cleaning business. And then that way she's going to support you getting to that level and then be relieved once she can get rid of the. So be like, hey, once we pay off the credit cards, once we have X amount in the bank, we're going to get rid of the clean business. Like, have you already talked to her about the taking away the clean business, like since our
Yeah.
mastermind?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
And,
told
and
her once we had this meeting and you said completely shut it down, I was probably just gonna start canceling the customers and yeah, cause yeah, right now it's just not making sense. And once you said that, I just started looking at all the cons, pros and cons, and there's more cons to it than pros. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think if I was you, I'd just tie it to a certain level of financial security and that you both are behind. Like you both want the family to succeed. So like hey, once we can get the credit card paid off, hopefully after this job, and then once we get a little bit of padding in the bank, cleaning business is over. It's kaput. You could sub it out to someone else if you really want to, but like just get rid of the thing, right? And she's going to be fully supportive of now the hauling business being able to provide for the family. She doesn't have to do the business. She's gonna like you going to work, what you call lazy, I call potentially unmotivated. And unmotivation can cause a lot by like the person you love the most is not really supportive of what you're doing. And so I think you'll regain the motivation for the business when you have someone else be like, go for it, like kick it, like let's go.
Right.
And so she can listen to this too and just be like, hey, like what is the dollar amount we both feel comfortable cutting the cleaning business? And then it's like all gas, no brakes to that point. So that as soon as possible, we can get rid of the cleaning business. And now we're focused back on the hauling company. And that's going to come a lot, in my opinion, to your confidence level in lead flow. Because like big jobs like that you got now, if we could get those all the time, like this becomes a not no conversation.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. Okay. And yeah, so back to the clients, we have about 3,024 clients in our database.
Let's go. So have you been emailing or texting those people on a regular basis?
I try to do a email campaign or a text campaign, email too, but a lot of them subscribed out, and then some of them were like, "Hey, we moved out of state. Can you guys take us off your list?" And I was supposed to, but never did it. So that's why I haven't really pushed on it again. And
Mhm.
I was looking into getting Copilot for the hauling because I was gonna get Copilot for the cleaning business. But I just need to know how to work the schedule on it, I guess, would be the
Yep. Yeah, like the good news is like the text you can go back, spend an afternoon. Whoever wanted to opt out or said they didn't weren't in this, cool, take them out. Like what seems like a lot could be 100 out of your 3,000 though. That's 3%. Like
hmm
I do not want to stop a really well, essentially free marketing channel to my best customers because 3% of of didn't like it, or 3% of them it's not applicable to anymore. Well, I would be looking at like 97% of them didn't opt out, and they're like, cool, that's a good, like great message. Like so I would really lean into the fact that you have 3,000 contacts that have already paid you money. So like let's make sure.
Some of them are people that booked estimates, and we just they stay in our database. Or people that booked online, never heard back from them.
So
Uh,
let's say 3,000 people that have demonstrated a need. Let's
yeah,
say half of them have given you money. Like those, that's a really good market to go after versus cold audience
hmm
traffic on Google and paying $150 or $175 for a lead or like for a customer there,
yeah.
right? So I would exhaust that a lot. I would say on a monthly basis. Because like you got spring cleanouts, you got end of like the school season, you have we're going back to school, so you have back to school sales. Like you just need to figure out for every single month what's the promotion based upon what you know is the demand of that season.
hmm
And then we're going to text them and we're going to email them. And I believe that's where you turn a reoccurring business like junk removal, which is intermittent but no schedule. Like, but it can happen more than one time. That's where you turn it into a more reoccurring business versus a one-time job. And this is the treadmill that so many junk removal businesses get on is spending money on one-time jobs and never having any reoccurrence. And that might be once a year. But if you can get a customer go from one time to once a year, we will double or triple the business.
hmm No, that makes sense. Okay.
Like it's end of year, it's Thanksgiving, like your family's coming over for Thanksgiving, you got to clear out the house. Like
Right.
there's so many areas of opportunity to just think about what is my customer currently facing, and then I'm messaging to the people who have already demonstrated the need and or paid me money. And if you really want to get sophisticated, you would split those two audiences out. So you'd say, okay, if they've ever paid me money, I'm going to tag them this way. Right. If they've never paid me money or they don't have an estimates accepted, this would be a different segment. Maybe it's 1,500 of each. Now you'd actually target them slightly different because to one audience they've already given you money, the other one like ghosted you or whatever.
Right.
And then you might actually realize that all the people that are like opting out are the people I've never actually done business for. They don't know who I am, and like they're just gravy on top of the 1,500 that I have done service for and are willing to get back into service with me.
Right. Okay. And then another thing I have too is the hauling company. I don't know how or why. I mean, I kind of try to keep track of all the money coming out. but it just seems like sometimes I spend more than what I make. Sometimes just labor, credit cards, just odds and ends, and that's another reason I took off myself, like got a job because I felt like I was the problem. You know, I'd be in the office and like, huh, we don't have leads coming in. What can I do? Okay, let's go buy yard signs. Spend $1,000 on yard signs. Oh, okay, that didn't work. All right, now let's do door hangers. Buy 2,500 door hangers. That's not working. Let's do thumbtack. Let's pay. You know, thumbtack was like super expensive. I think it was like $80 a lead. Um, then I tried Angie's List, and you know, I tried when I was in the office. I was just trying throwing a bunch of money at stuff. But I don't want to go back to that because I got in debt for one of the years that we were in business pretty bad. I was like 40 grand in debt. I finally got out of that. Now I have a little cushion room, personal. Me and my wife saved money. We have a little cushion room, but now I'm scared to spend that money and go back to where I was. You know, that's one of my huge things is like, how can I make it so I don't spend so much money?
Yeah, like leads will solve this problem. You getting so many leads where like I'm not sitting in the office. I either have to get another truck or like I have to go out and work on the weekends to get all these leads taken care of. And so instead of focusing on like the reason that we always default to get door hangers or get yard signs because they just throw money at it is like the simplest quote laziest way to do it, right? What takes more which is much more difficult is like, okay, what's a thoughtful process that I can use on a monthly basis to promote an offer to my customer based upon their needs. Now I just really get creative. But cool thing is you can ask ChatGPT this. You can just
Right.
be like, hey, give me 12 promotional offers for junk removal in this market. These are my services. Give me one for an email and text for every single month of the year. It'll do this for you. Right. So
Mhm.
like, but that takes a little more creativity than just like, oh yeah, I'll, give my credit card to, Angie List or whatever. So I also think like you can look at your website, like when you get your leads right now, Ricardo, what percent of them come to your website versus like calling you?
I'd probably say 80, 95% call and very little
Okay.
come through. Because we're doing
Got
that
it.
now. We kind of slowed down on the Google ads and we focus more on the Google local ads. So usually they're just calling. And then right now I stopped all ads with Yelp because I was spending about 3 to 4 grand and I wasn't even, I barely cover, sometimes wouldn't even cover the cost of the Yelp ads.
Yeah. So like I think that if you lean on local services, because we know at least it works, it's bringing the phone calls, and it's not a ban, it's something that's working and makes decent sense financially. Then we focus on text and email blast to existing customers and our database. And then the next thing I would say is those text messages are likely going to be pushing them to your website to book now. Right. Like I really like the fact that you can book now with your website. I think that we could take the site though and increase the conversion dramatically just by tweaking. If you like, do you do the site yourself?
No, I had one of my friend's cousins to it.
Cool. Are they available to like make some tweaks if you ask them to?
Sometimes they're just I know he was not sure if he's still at school or if he's got a job now.
Okay.
So he might be able to do it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Might-
Like a couple things on this site I think could really improve the conversion. Um, and so I'm just looking at it now on mobile. I like that the book now is up top. Very good. Yeah. Like, are you open to changing the name?
The company name?
Responsive. Yeah.
Uh Never really thought about it. No, not
Okay.
really, but why?
Okay. Mostly because, like, so for example, 1-800 Got Junk is obviously the leader in the industry, and it's in part because like you can remember it very easily.
Right.
Um, Responsive being that this is like an action, like responsive. I'm responsive. Um, I'm trying to think about how we can like go after more house cleanouts and hoarders. Like something around hoarders could be interesting. Because hauling, like, so when you say hauling, like that's why I immediately asked, like, was this junk removal or is this a trucking business?
Hmm.
Right. And so I'm not saying we should do that, but I think that even the logo with the three arrows says to me like recycling.
Hmm.
So I'm a little confused if I look at just the logo of like, is this a trash removal business? Is this a recycling business? Is this a trucking business or is this a junk removal business? Right. So like I, for example, would be like a huge fan of something like hoarders junk removal. Like, okay, I'm going after my target audience, which is my people that are hoarders. Also, you can make fun of it too, right? Like, hey, there's a little bit of hoarder in everyone, right? Like, we all have a little bit of hoarder in us. Like, you could make it so it's not just the hoarders, but it's junk removal, but then it's also branded to your most ideal customer that you make the most money on. And so that would be like a longer lift. And I don't know if you're the person in your site could help you kind of make that happen. But like what's nice is you haven't wrapped your trucks. Like you'd really just have to change the sign and your website, and you could immediately, and even your like DBA, you could just change the DBA and your entity to like responsive hauling, DBA, hoarder's junk removal. I mean, I'm just making stuff up. Don't use this verbatim. I'm just saying I think that I'm a little confused by the branding. And I also think like just from the website perspective, I really like the book now thing. I think that could be really highlighted even more so. And it's like book us now, like, and get rid of the get your free estimate. Like, how often do you get an estimate versus the booking?
We get a lot of estimates that we have to do. Because that's usually what we go for. We usually say, "Oh, let's book the estimate, then we'll, give you the price. We'll go take care of it from there."
Okay. And how many, what's your close ratio usually? Like 30, 50%? What is it usually?
Well, when we're there on site, it tends to be. I haven't kept track of that. Uh,
Oh, I see. So they'll call in a lot of times and over the phone, you'll basically close them. Like give
yeah,
them an estimate.
yeah. If we can, if not, uh,
I see. So call the number below for a free junk removal estimate. Got it. Okay.
okay. Can you still hear me there?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Oh yeah. A lot of people will call. We'll give them if they have like a single item, then we'll give them the price right then and there. Um, but usually if it's like, oh, we have junk, we have junk in our backyard or this and that, then we'll let them know that, hey, we have to come out and take a look at it in person, then give you the price, and then if you agree to the price, we'll go ahead and get it taken care of right then and there.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right. So it's not like you're visiting their house as much. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I think a rebrand I would be a fan of. I think it would help with your conversion. I think you'd get more of the right customers. But I know that's a big lift. So I'm not going to push you in that direction because,
Mhm.
it requires a whole new site, changing the signage out, et cetera. But it might be just something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I never really thought about it. I always thought because a lot of customers are like, we need it right now. We need this just gone right now. Can you come right now? Can you come today? I had somebody cancel or never showed up. Can you come take care of it? So that's kind of why I got into that name, the responsiveness, just kind of like, hey, we're quick. We're the first ones there. Call us. We'll take care of it right away when you need it. We're here to work on your schedule. So that's kind of
Mhm.
the play I had with that name.
Mhm. Yeah, like I think if I was to go 1 degree less instead of calling like
Mhm.
changing responsive, then I would just probably call it responsive junk removal and change the logo to something that's reflective of that because that symbol is used for recycling a lot. So I
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I I I didn't know like is this a trash company? Is this a
Right.
recycling company? Is this a trucking company? Like it can get confusing. And these are the little things that like when someone's quickly scanning a site, the first thing they're like, is this even for me? Right.
hmm
So
And then for as far as legal wise, if I change it to responsive junk removal, would that be, you said just change it to a DBA?
you just add a DBA. So it could be like responsive hauling LLC, DBA,
DBA is
responsive junk removal. Yeah.
okay.
And then you could even just like so like you have items we can take, how we work, etc. I would definitely make a page on your site that is like responsive hauling, or if you change the URL or not, doesn't matter. Responsivehauling.com/hoarders. And then another one like slash what was it? House cleanouts. Like I would try to go after those keywords by using another page on the site that actually they're going to be searching. Like when they search
I think we
house
do
cleanout.
have that. Yeah, I think we do have that page there. There should be. I know I pretty
You're good.
specifically told them that.
Items we take.
It might just be a little hard to find. Let's see here.
You're good. Services. Oh, I see. I see more. Under more, there it is. Office house clean out. Got it. Oh, you do dumpster. Do you do dumpster rentals too?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So we have
Okay.
I have one the 19 give me 1 second here. I have the 19 cubic yard truck. That's a dump truck. And then I right after that I bought another Isuzu, but it's a switch and go. So it's the biggest box I have is a 17 cubic yards. So it's 14 feet long, 8 foot wide, 4 foot tall. So a lot of customers when we first got it, we were renting them out a lot. But now dumpster rental got so competitive, especially with pricing and all that, because I charge 550 for mine, includes a ton and a half of weight. Anything over that is 200 bucks a ton. So there's a lot of other competitors or bigger companies with the big, um, you know, 60,000 pound trucks or sticker limit, and they're charging about $800 to $1,000 for like a 40 yarder. Includes 3 tons, so it makes more sense for them to go with that one. The reason we're renting ours out was they're really small, compact. We could squeeze them in into anywhere. So, uh, yeah, that was kind of what we did with the dumpster rentals there.
And
But
what
we
percentage
rented.
of revenue? What percentage of
Okay,
revenue is the dumpster rental?
not much, probably like 5-10%. Like again, I don't keep track of all the numbers. I just kind of
Got
do the
it.
jobs as they go. But yeah,
Mhm.
not a big percentage.
Okay. Yeah, because it would be interesting to see if we should even make a different site for that, like responsive dumpster or something like that.
I've
If
thought
you're
about
get
that. Hmm.
if it's even worth it, if it's 5 to 10% of revenue, maybe we just abandon this altogether and we take that second truck and grow it using junk removal, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what my plan was for now. I actually got a next week. I have an appointment with a welder to come weld the toolbox because I've had the toolbox for years and never got it installed. Just again procrastinating, unmotivated, and but yeah, because sometimes we like if our truck's completely full or out of service, like getting maintenance done, brakes done, or whatever, we'll use that one for the junk removal. But I never carry any tools in it, so we have to lug all the bags because we use a lot of drills, sawzalls, in case we need to take stuff apart, couches or whatever. Um, so we'll lug all the stuff in the cab with us, including the tarps. And once we're done dumping, especially when it's raining, it gets all muddy. But yeah, that is what my plan for now was because I already have one truck pretty much full time with my general manager and the other guy. So have them do their own route, whatever extra jobs come in, then I start taking care of on my own until I'm
Cool.
able to, and then have to hire another person to help me out once we start getting that marketing up again, especially right now during our busy season coming up.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I think if 5 or 10% of revenue, I would be cutting it too. Kind of like the cleaning thing. Just focus on. And if you have the second truck and you know you can fill it eventually with junk removal, which is the higher margin stuff, then I agree. I agree 100%. So
Yeah,
I know I've been talking a
because we
lot.
only
You have
have two
questions
dumpsters
though. Go
too.
ahead.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you only have two. Okay,
yeah.
which
So we
even
kind of
makes which is
yeah.
almost
Go ahead.
helpful. I was thinking, Ricardo, because what you could do use that truck for is, for example, instead of getting a third truck down the road, if you just drop one of the dumpsters, you have your crew load the thing up. You could technically kind of do two job sites. So,
That's exactly what we do. We have like the larger jobs, so we'll go out, drop one off while the team loads up the dump truck, and they'll load the dumpster up. So by the time I come back, that dumpster's full. Drop off that one, then the dump truck's coming. So we just kind of keep the ball rolling if there's space for them. But yeah, so that's definitely the plan is, and that's what we use them for. So yeah, I guess I'm doing good on that. So yeah, questions I have is like, how can I be number one in marketing? So I've done Google. I've tried to max out all, but we have like a $2,000 a day budget, but it never spends that much. It usually used to spend like $400 to $500 a day, and that's when we were doing the 700-800 or $600,000 to $700,000 a year. How can I be number one? The competitor my brother's working with, if you want to look them up, it's Nixit, so it's Nixxit junkremoval.com. Um, they're staying pretty busy. We're working with them and the owner of that company. He's on the truck. He's super motivated. Like I'm like I'm glad I'm part of this job site because I'm watching how everything works. They're making money. The way they handle calls, the way he does his sales, he's just very straightforward. Me, when I go do my sales or estimates, I'm kind of like, um, I think it's about a quarter load. So yeah, yeah, it's a quarter load. If it ends up being less, I'll charge you less. He's just kind of like, oh, for what I charge a quarter, he'd probably be like, hey, it's half a truck. It's going to be this much. And this is why you want to go for it or not. Because I've
mhm.
heard him talk to this customer and he's just really straightforward. I guess when he landed this huge job, because this job, it's like a $300,000 job they're doing. He was in contact with the realtor, and then kind of the realtor was the middleman. I guess he told him straight up, just like, "Hey, are you the decision maker?" No, I'm not. That's the owner. Okay, I need to get in contact with the decision maker. If not, I'm not giving you a price. I'm like, wow, like I wouldn't have the 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 nerve to just kind of go out, especially if it's a realtor I like to work with and stuff like that. I try to be professional, respectful, but he's just like, I got to talk to him, and that's it. Like you're out of the picture for now, and so we need you. And I know that's one of like the Grant Cardone sales. Like he's just like, you got to get to the decision maker. and that's it. Don't talk to the middleman. But so I'm learning a lot. But they're really good at marketing, and I'm just from the week we've been there, they've already landed like 2 or 3 hoarder house or large clear outs. Like 4, 5, 6 grand job. I'm like, how? My phone's not ringing. We're not getting any jobs. I'm like, what am I doing wrong compared to them? I mean, they're a bigger company. They have a lot more money. I'm working with little to no capital. They have it's him, his wife, and then another uh, manager he has. They've all invested money, um, but they're super big on marketing. So I want to see how can I compete with them. What can I change? Stuff like that. What can I do to get more jobs and just get more jobs and be number one in marketing.
Yeah, like they have several things dialed in on their website, but also even like their Google listing, they have 1,500 reviews, right? So, from that,
And they
that's a
started
tough,
be after us.
right? Yeah, it's tough to compete with, but like they obviously have things dialed in with like setting automations for getting reviews. I imagine they ask for reviews the cut when they're on the job site.
Hmm.
They also have products inside of their Google listing that you can actually buy directly from there. So you could create products inside of there. So they're really optimizing their Google listing. The first thing. The next thing I would say is like I think you can double the business just by focusing on your 3,000 people in your database. It's just a function of how do we get someone to come back again? Because what's happening is someone's using your service 2 years later, they need another service around junk removal, and they're just searching junk
There's
removal
no
in your
problem.
area, and they're getting
Hmm.
Nixit, right? So, like, because you're not top of mind, you haven't contacted them for 2 years. So, like, we just need to stay top of mind for someone that is only going to think about junk removal once a year, maybe once every 2 years.
Hmm. Okay. So I guess changing the name to responsive junk removal would be a big help.
I think it'd be clear. Like I think you have more clarity on what you even do. That'd be like the first step. Then if you can change even just that logo, that would be another thing I would potentially think about. And then like, do you take it to the next level and actually change it to going after hoarders? Like that seems to be the thing that is 10x the size job that you're getting from Google that is a $400 or $500 job, right? It's like I would rather
Hmm.
go for the 3, 4, $5,000 jobs, even if I get half as many leads, but they're 10x the size and all more profitable. I can also spend a lot more on ads when my average ticket is 3, 4 grand versus 400.
Yeah. Because the thing is, with the reason I have never really focused on that was because I'm always, I guess I was always negative and like, oh, there's not enough work for everybody. They have too much competition. Somebody's gonna outbid us, stuff like that. But now, like I said, now with these guys, they're just, I mean, they're expensive. They have smaller trucks. They're charging a little cheaper than we are, but when we break it down, we're cheaper in the long run. But for them, they have smaller trucks. So yeah, but yeah, it's opening my eyes, and I'm being more positive. There's work out there. I just have to be able to get it. Okay, so
And sometimes like a
yeah.
specialist makes more money, right? So if you're like, we're the pros for hoarders. Like if I know my parents passed away and their house is full of junk, like am I going to call responsive hauling or am I going to call hoarders junk removal? Right? I'm gonna call the hoarders junk removal because it's screaming to me like this is what who you need. And if you've been with someone like that, they're in 3, 4 of these hoarder houses every day or week or whatever, you don't need even that many. And I believe that your hoarder's junk removal, for example, would outperform Nixit because Nixit is still even more broad. Like if you know all your money is coming from this segment, we just go all in on it, including potentially changing the name. But like I think in terms of like fast fixes, I would at least go responsive junk removal and change that
Hmm.
circular looking to something else.
Okay, yeah, because what my thing would like if I change it to like Porter or something similar to that, would I potentially lose all the smaller clients, like the minimum pickups, but like again, the average still ticket is like about a third of a load. So usually a quarter load, but it all evens out with the full loads and stuff like that. With the name change like that, would I potentially lose a lot of the other customers? You think, or
I think so. Yes, you would probably lose out on the $300, $400 jobs. But again, if we're paying 175 to Google, we can't make sense of those jobs anyways. And so the reason why
mm,
someone like Nixit has made sense of this is because they can still spend, like they probably don't do any better marketing than you. Let's assume their cost per lead is like the exact same. But because their prices are higher and they're going after that target demo of like these hoarder houses, they're getting these big
mm-hmm,
jobs like the one that you're doing now. Like these are massive jobs. They're winning those because it's speaking to the audience much in a much more direct fashion. Like niching down, like when you say responsive hauling, you basically are saying we will haul anything. And even on the side of your truck, like when you say that many things, it's like, oh, they will haul anything. Versus I need someone to clean out my hoarder house. I'm going to go to Hoarder's junk removal and I'm willing to pay far more because I believe they're going to serve me. So yes, I believe you will get less leads if you go from responsive hauling to Hoarder's junk removal. I do believe that. But I believe that even if you cut your number of leads by 30% and you lost all those $300, $400 jobs, you would double or triple the amount of hoarder houses that you get. And you've shown that just the amount of hoarder houses that they're getting, if you could just get those, let alone anything else in it, you would be set. So there's enough work there. And I believe that if we just focused on them, we'd actually get them away from Nixit. Because I don't believe you're going to be able to compete with Nixit in terms of all of junk removal. They have systems dialed, they have more capital, they have a lot more infrastructure, they have 5 times as many reviews as you. It's going to be tough. So why not just take one segment that you know is most profitable and just laser in on those people?
Okay. All right.
And
All right.
I
So I
do
guess.
believe you can get other jobs just by the way you message it, right? It's like in your marketing, like when you get to your site, it's like the tagline is like, we all have a little hoarder inside of us, right? Like things like that can like, kind of make it funny. It makes it very, very easy to know what you do. Like I can read Hoarder's junk removal and immediately know what you do. And if someone doesn't know what you do, they have no ability to even buy from you because they don't know whether or not you serve their need.
Right. I guess just market to like, okay. So I guess focus most of our marketing towards that.
I would do that. I would do that. And I think what's really good, Ricardo, is you've demonstrated by working with another company that there's enough of those hoarder houses and house cleanouts to make a business. So in the past, you might have said, hey, I don't know if there's going to be enough of those leads. We've demonstrated now that there are enough. It's just a matter of us going and getting them.
Okay. And then next question would be how do I hire people for how do I find people for like Facebook ads and SEO stuff like that? Because I don't do any SEO in my company. And I know it's a big help for a lot of businesses, but I just can't come up with reason to spend, I've gotten quotes for like $700 a month and it's gonna take 6 months to start working. And I don't really know if I could trust these people that I'm contacting. How can I find people to actually help?
Yeah, like the biggest thing I would say if you're going to do it is be careful of someone that's going to lock you into a contract because those are usually the scummy ones. Because this is the thing: if their SEO is doing really good, you will not want to leave. $500 or $700 a month. You're like, who cares? They doubled my number of leads. It's like this is why even we do this at Home Service Web Design, and like we do it where you could leave after 1 month, and we do that because like, if we're not gonna get you leads, like you should just leave. But that would be my only caveat. Like if you're gonna go out and look for someone to do it, just be careful. Like you gotta sign a 3-year contract and they'll try to sell you. And like it takes 6 months. Yes, it takes 6 months, but if after 6 months you haven't seen results, you need to bail. And so that's the only thing I would be kind of wary of. And it doesn't cost more than 1,000. So like if someone's charging more than 1,000, I would be very wary. Like I know what it costs because we charge $499. So like if they're too much more than 700 and they're asking for contracts of a year, 2 years, 3 years, I've seen some at 5 years now. Just be wary of them.
Okay. And you guys do SEO, but just for like landscapers, right?
No, Home Service Web Design does for all home services. So about a third of our sites are. So if you go on there, I think we actually have a junk removal on our work page. You can see some of them. I don't know if we have the junk removal ones on there, but there's at least 4 or 5 like plumbing. We do HVAC. We do a bunch of different home service stuff.
Okay.
I would probably only use a service like ours if you're going to actually rebrand. So like, because we will do everything from scratch. Like we would do the logo for you. We would do the domain. Like we do everything. If you're going to go that route, then use someone like us. If you're just like, hey, take my current site, tweak the logo, just the circle thing, and responsive junk removal, and increase SEO, I don't think you should be paying more than $300 a month for that. Maybe 400. But like if you're going to go full site redesign and rebranding, something like us might be helpful. But you can talk to the team too, and just like even just get some ideas. Because they'll look at this site and give you like, hey, here's the first 5 things we'd be doing, and you could even just take that from their call, and then they go take it to someone and try to get cheaper if needs be.
Okay, all right. And then are like local networking groups or events worth the time spent on them? Because I know that like Nick said, they do that a lot. They're like very big on community in their city. Are those worth it in your opinion? Like BNI's, Chamber of Commerce and all that?
I've seen some like very localized groups work. The vast majority of the ones I have attended, they don't. And when I say work, will I get a lead or two? Yes. But my question is always, if I would have spent that time doing something else in the business, like
Hmm.
optimizing my website or just follow, like I always get a crack of when people are going to 3 hour BNI meetings and they're not following up on their estimates. Like, look, if you just spent an hour calling all the estimates that you
Following
gave
up
out
on
this past
email.
week, you would have closed 3 or 4 jobs. And so I look at it as like it is not the lowest hanging fruit. Like if I went, into your business, I would be like, okay, have we texted everyone? Have we emailed everyone? Have we followed up on every single estimate until they said no? And if not, then why are we going after any cold traffic? Whether that be BNI, Facebook, Google, we should not spending a single dollar if we're not doing the free forms of marketing.
Hmm. Right.
I also think that your hoarders haul junk removal would do great on social media, just because the name and like if you do a cool, funny little logo, it's gonna crush on local Facebook groups. So
Hmm. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm worried on that idea, but I'm gonna put some thought into it. But yeah, definitely, I'll definitely do its name change logo because I did want to change the logo too.
cool.
So
Yeah,
that was already mine, but
that'd be a good step, right? Just take that first step and see how people react. And I think if you see a good change, maybe then what you could do is build the hoarder site separately and be like, okay, let's
hmm
kind of test it out, roll it. I don't want to like completely change everything right away. I get it.
right.
But I think you'll get more confidence just by changing the logo and responsive hauling going to responsive junk removal. So that alone will like be, I think, helpful.
Okay. And then what can I do during the slow season? Because we usually do right now on average we're doing about 40 grand a month. Um, then for basically anywhere from like November, December, all the way to basically now, just right before May, we're only doing about 15 to 20 grand a month. So that's just enough to pay all our bills, our guys, and just stay alive, basically.
Mhm.
Um, Not including our, sometimes we're losing because we're paying advertising and stuff like that. We're having bad months. Like April was horrible. We did about 25, I think, and we ended up losing like about 6 grand. Um, so what can I do? Because we still stay busy. Like some Decembers, past few years, we've done like big hoarder clearouts or big house clearouts where puts us on the green, or we'll make 5, 10 grand profit. Um, but what can I do during the slow season to market to those type of customers, or should I do, kind of I guess what do you suggest to do? I know for like landscaping, like completely shuts down. To you suggest doing the lights. What do you think I could do? Should I up my marketing? Um, Obviously contact the current client list I have right now, so that might help out. But is there anything else I could do?
Yeah, like I do think part of this is the messaging, the type of customer you're going after.
Hmm.
Like by saying we're doing, hauling, the challenging part that most people think about hauling during the spring season. When I go after something like hoarders, people are dying and moving throughout the entire year, and so I do believe that that shift in the messaging, the marketing, or the branding would help somewhat. I do believe that like when there's a ton of leads pouring in, you're not going to send out a text message because like you're already drowning in work. But what we
Hmm.
save our text and our emails for is the season when it's slower. But there's absolutely no reason why you can't have a early November saying, "Hey, is your family coming in town? And here's the offer." And you make an offer designated around Thanksgiving. And then after Thanksgiving, boom, same thing for Christmas. January, okay, we're going to haul up their Christmas tree, all of their boxes, and you're going to have pictures of all the stuff overflowing from their Christmas party. Like you're just going to have to think about what's the offer for every single season because the reason is right now you're leaning so much on intent based marketing, which is people searching on Google for you. You're going to have to flip this to where now when they're not thinking about you, you say, "Hey, I have something to offer." And that's going to come to
Hmm.
the text and the email. But you're going to have to get creative. Like, how do you bundle this up? Right? Like, how do you actually create packages that are appealing to people they're not thinking about things. They're like,
During
oh, it's just a
season, yeah.
bunch. Right. So it just we've got to create the demand because right now you are waiting on people searching a certain keyword. And that's why even like to you, like it's like, oh, I gotta do SEO. I agree. If people are trying to find you, I'm trying to take how the people are already in my ecosystem, I can reach out to them anytime and create, but I've got to create demand by giving an offer. And so I would create a very funny, like a great package name around Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's and then like spring cleaning season. Um, and so one thing I will say, Ricardo, I don't want to like I don't want to pitch home service representative, but what I will do is this, because I think I can convince you on the hoarder thing if you just see enough leads. And so what I want to do is I want to build the site for you for free for 6 months. And so we will build it out completely. And if you're like, after 6 months, it's not doing great, just can it. Like, I have no hard feelings whatsoever. My only ask is that you just work with the team when they ask you questions around like, what's your service area? What kind of, colors do you like? Because they're going to build this thing from scratch, and they're going to build it for something like, if you can get a domain like hoarders.com or whatever, like if you can get that hoarder junk removal, and then really go after hoarders. And I think if you do it for 6 months, you'll see like, oh, like there's a lot of traffic here, and this is now bringing me leads that I don't have to pay $175 and get a $300, $400 job. Like, you don't want those customers. Like, I'm trying to get away from them, and those are also the ones that are most seasonal. They're the people that are always in the spring. You got this big buildup. I'm going after the fact that people die all the time and people move all the time. That's a consistent throughout the year. There'll be ebbs and flows, and obviously spring will still be higher. But I know that I can create offers during November, during December. Like, those are great seasons to target people, their gatherings, their parties. People are coming in, their families coming in town. It's just a matter of packaging it correctly.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because my dad, he's like very local. He does all the work himself, so he does a lot of jobs for like retirement homes. So when people pass away, the retirement home keeps his number, and when those families come, like, hey, families are coming out of state to handle their parents' death and their stuff, and they're just like, hey, call Seven Cities, call them. They take care of pretty much everybody here. Once people pass away.
Totally. And the thing is that then you start asking, hey, how do I do more business to business? So for example, instead of going to BNI, I would be like, okay, I'm going to contact every mortician. I'm going to contact every cemetery, because when people pass away, they also need my services. And to that funeral director, for example, they are a wealth of knowledge to the person that is trying to deal with all this stuff for the first time. If you can be the name, they always say, go contact Hoarders Junk Removal. They got you taken care of. And you create packages around these type of life events. And also, people are very price insensitive around that moment. Like, they're not like, oh, is it $5 or $10? Like, we gotta get this taken care of. Can you be there tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I believe your time would be better spent instead of going to a BNI event where there's a whole bunch of random people that are also trying to sell their stuff. I'd be spending my time going knocking on doors of every single funeral home director and all of these places where these families are coming and they need your services.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, well, anything else, Ricardo, before we wrap up? I can help with?
No, I know my time's up. So I have one question, but to kind of answer the same thing. So, okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think like immediate steps, I think we can change the logo, change to responsive junk removal pretty easily on the website, just to create a little bit more cohesiveness so customers know what's going on. That's pretty easy. The text and email to existing customers, probably the highest priority. I would talk to ChatGPT for 20, 30 minutes about like, create me an email for every month of the year, make it around this messaging. Do the same thing for text messages. I would be like, if after this big job, that'd be the first test. And it's spring, like you're in the middle of your season. It'd be like spring cleanouts, right? Like spring, get your house, spring cleaning done. Here's our offer. You create some sort of offer, whether it be a percentage off or you get to a full truck and you get a percentage off or whatever it is. And then just create those for every single month. That's the second thing. And then the third thing is like very much up to you. I don't want to enforce this, but like, I would just say like, consider going more niche and going after the hoarder houses with your branding. And so like, I'll send you, when I send you the recording, I will just introduce you to Tori. And if you want to have them build it and have it for free 6 months, great, try it out. I just think that you will be able to get 50 to 60% of the currently customers going to nix it. And if you can just get those hoarder people coming to you and we're getting $3-4 grand per job, I would be like, go spend more money on Google. Because now $175 on a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 job, I'm cool with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do the branding. So basically it would just be the website, Google, basically everywhere I advertise, and then just do the DBA website. I would have to get a new domain. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought about the domain, but okay, I'll look for that right now. And then, yeah, I'll probably take you up on that 6 months, and then probably look for a domain similar to that, so somewhere with the wordplay, and then kind of go from there, and then probably.
Tori and the team will walk you through that part too. So don't worry too much about the domain. Like I kind of want that to like built for you. you're going to like, oh, this is super cool. I just want that to be all surprise and delight. Don't stress about that. I really want you to focus on the current business and like just optimizing that around existing customers, the logo and the name of the business, getting the DBA. Just focus on those things for now. And like that first day after that big job is done, immediately go into let's really focus on upselling and cross-selling our database. I think you'll be amazed if we just create a good packaged offer around spring cleanups.
Okay. And then Copilot kind of makes it super easy for me to do all that with the current client list I have, right? Where I could just send out everything automatic and kind of set up the, like if I talk to ChatGPT, I have excuse me, all these templates done. I could just implement them and just kind of leave it and forget about it, and it will just send them out automatically, email and
Yeah, like
text.
what do you use now right now? Do you use MailChimp or what are you using now to send out text to customers?
I don't. I was using I found different apps that I would use, and they all gave me different numbers. And so right now we just use our workies for our CRM, or scheduling and all that. But we don't. It's really a little difficult to use and kind of hard to get a hold of somebody. So yeah, we haven't really. I've done it. I've done it through Mailchimp. But yeah, just different odd apps.
Yeah. Okay. Like, yes, Copilot can do it. It does the bulk text and the bulk email. You're looking at $279 a month though. So like you'd have to see, well, okay, is it worth that? Like if you put 3,000 customers into MailChimp, for example, you're looking at probably 150 to 200. So a little bit cheaper, but it's not going to do the CRM part. So like, just check. Like all I care about is that you message your customers, email and text. So whether it be
Mm-hmm.
Copilot or MailChimp, I don't really care. Just make sure we get the customers messaged. I think if you're considering switching away from Workies, then Copilot makes sense because it does the CRM aspect as well, like all the invoicing and
Mm-hmm.
estimates and all the rest of it. But if you like Workies, you could potentially get away with something like Mailchimp that's a little bit cheaper. If you have 3,000 contacts, it might be about $200 for texting and emailing. But like, just look at those. But the bottom line is we got to figure out a way to message those three. Like the 3,000 customers is your gold mine. Like
Mm-hmm.
my locations, we don't market. We just simply are like when we need jobs, we text our customers and we email them, and we're gonna get 30 to 50 new jobs every time we do that. And so I want that to be the focus because if I could just put all the money you're spending on marketing right now into your pocket, you'd be profitable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and furthermore you get less anxious because you're not at the whim of spending more money on ads. You know that when you send a text out that's well done for an offer around a certain season, that you'll get X amount of leads. Like it becomes like very much dependable.
Okay. And does Mailchimp offer us text message campaigns too, or?
They do. Yep, they do. And so
Okay.
yep, they do. And so you're probably looking around, if I had to guess, 150 to $200 a month to do text and email to 3,000 people if you just do MailChimp. So if you like Workies and like, the CRM is working great for you, then just do MailChimp. If you're like Workies is don't like it, then I'd consider Copilot to get all of it in one thing.
Okay. And then so you said it's about 4.99 for the SEO as well, right? Through you guys.
Yeah, but like, let me connect with Tori. And then what he'll do, Ricardo, is first off, he'll look at your site and just give you like, hey, low hanging fruit, do these 5 things, it'll make your site better. And then what I'll have them do is like build you the kind of the rebranded version, and that'll be free and for 6 months. And then you can just assess. Like if it's not working for you, please just can the thing. I don't care. I just want you to see it and see what the potential of a site that is built from the ground up on that brand, going after that niche customer. I think you'll be surprised. And then you'll be like, okay, is it now worth actually switching my Google listing to over to the new site and changing my name, etc. We can make that decision for 6 months down the road.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Perfect.
all right, Ricardo, we'll stay in touch. Best of luck to you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got
Appreciate
it.
it.